Happy Monday, everyone. Hey, welcome back. Another Monday. And today is a special Monday, actually, because it's Veterans Day. So I want to say happy Veterans Day to everyone, all who served, who is still serving. I just want to give y'all a special shout out today because that's amazing. All the things that you've done, the sacrifices you've made, um, it doesn't go unnoticed. So once again, happy Monday and happy Veterans Day to all that applies to. So as you all know, we've been talking about grief this month, and if you didn't watch last week, please go back and take a look. It was a really good live about grief and learning to live, after loss, because so many of us have dealt with grief in our lives, and it really does, change us. Sometimes it really changes us, and we don't know who we are anymore. And I'm just here to, say things that you can do to help move forward after a loss, and I touched on a lot of that on my last live last week. So please go watch if you didn't. I'm so excited to be here another Monday. God is so good, and it's getting easier every time I do this. And it's just a blessing to be able to do this. And I'm so thankful to have everyone that's supporting me and all the kind words and messages I've been receiving. So, like I said, our live is on grief. I'm touching on different topics each Monday in the month, talking about grief. So, this week, we're going to be talking about, learning to live with loss, and forgiveness, before and after. And every Monday, every live, I like to start with the verse, a Bible verse for the week. And I try to make sure that it's, connected to what I'm speaking about. And for this week is Matthew 6:14 and 15. And it goes, "For if you forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses." And what I take that to mean is that we all, have things that we feel people have done to us or against us. And sometimes we can, get on the wrong foot or not speak to people or fall out, and that's life. But sometimes we can really take it to the next level, especially when it comes to family, our close friends that was once close friends, that if we feel like they've wronged us or done something to us, we would really not want to talk to them. We would cut them off. And I just feel like that we are doing ourselves a disservice doing that, because you never know what tomorrow may bring. Everyone is not guaranteed to make it to the next day. And don't get me wrong, I know that some people just do things that just not right, and they hurt you over and over again. So no, by no means should you tolerate that or put up with people just being, just disrespectful to you, not treating you right, and especially if they're doing it over and over again. But what I'm saying is, have a conversation. Try to come to some type of, agreement. Talk about the hurt. Talk about what they did. And then you may not move on like nothing has ever happened, or it goes back to what it was before. But at least you have talked about those things. You've gotten off your chest. But the biggest thing is forgiveness. Forgiving people, but also forgiving, yourself. Because that's a hard thing for a lot of us to do. So today, with it being Veterans Day, and I shouted out all the veterans. Thank you all for your service once again. I want to talk about my time in the military. A lot of you probably don't know, but I did serve a little time in the Army National Guard, right out of high school, actually. And I did not make a career of it. It was some circumstances behind it, but I would like to tell that story today about how that, came about and the blessing that came behind it. So in high school, I made a decision that I would join the Army National Guard, and the main reason was because could help pay for my schooling. And at the time, I did not really have the means or even know how I was gonna pay. So I talked to a recruiter and he sold me on, if you join, and the National Guard was the option at the time because it could be not a permanent situation, but I could still get money for college once I finished my training, and did the things I had to do. So I thought, that was a great idea. I would go that route. So they had this option that if you were 18 and it was my senior year, you could do a split training. So the junior year going into my senior year, I actually did basic training for the Army. And that was an experience in itself because I had never been away from home. And obviously, going to basic training and in that type of setting is very hard. But I made it through and it was amazing. But one of the reasons I believe I made it through was because I had someone rooting me on, someone that I had reconnected with during that time. And that person was my dad. So me and my dad did not have the best relationship because he was not present the whole time um of me growing up. Him and my mom was never in a relationship. So when I was born, they weren't together. So I knew him and he obviously was in the picture off and on. But like I said in my last live, his mother, my grandmother, was the person who made sure that, I was connected to the family. And I did spend time with him as a child off and on. I even went to stay with him over, little short periods of time when he lived out of state. One place was Kansas and another place was Wisconsin. So I did have time with him and I did spend time with him off and on through my life, but it wasn't consistent. So obviously there was some hurt there behind that because I just could not understand why he wasn't, in my life, why he didn't make the effort to be there. And obviously I don't know now as an adult, I don't know what he was dealing with. And my father did have sickle cell, a very um bad case of it, really. They had told him at a young age that he probably would not survive to be, you know, older. He would pass away before he would make it to that age because it was just so severe. Um, but with me going to the military, that allowed me to be able to reconnect with him because beforehand, he actually went to prison. And when I was on the outside world, just doing my thing, I had a lot of resentment. I was angry. There was a lot of things I just didn't want to deal with. So I did communicate with him for a while through letters, but I hadn't had a chance to go visit or anything. But I still had all that hurt in my heart. So I never went. But once again, I went to basic training and doing basic training. Anyone that's been to the military, you know how hard that could be. You feel alone. And one of the things that gets you through that time is letters, people writing you, and you being able to communicate with people on the outside. And so with that being said, me and my father were able to communicate with each other because both of us at that time was in the same boat when it came to needing that extra support of having someone to write letters. And so we wrote each other. And it was just amazing because what happened was that we were able to talk about so many things that we hadn't had a chance, to discuss. So I think he wanted me to come to visit him in person. And I'm sure we would have talked about a lot of things, but it never happened, before that time. So this was the perfect time frame for us to reconnect. And that's what we did. And we talked about so many things. I was able to, really let him know how hurt I was about his absence in my life, about him just not being, understanding. And he was able to answer some questions from me and really let me know that he loved me and that, he loved me. He was rooting for me. And that was just everything. So during that time frame of me being there, we were able to reconnect and have forgiveness for one another and talk about things that we probably would never talked about if it wasn't for that particular situation, and that it just aligned that way. And I believe that was God. Um, so yeah, so I with the split option, I completed basic training, but then I went back home because I had to start my senior year of high school. And during that time, um, I was going to complete the senior year, and then what the plan was for me to go and do my training for whatever my job was going to be, to complete the full training of, the military training and being fully part of the National Guard. But that did not happen because it's not unfortunately, but I did become pregnant during that time with my oldest daughter, and I had her um after I graduated high school. So I actually was still part of the military, and I still had orders to go finish my training, but I had to have a C-section with her, so my healing was prolonged. So I had to wait. They didn't want me to go and be hurt and that I can blame them for if something went wrong. So I had to be clear about a doctor. And I think it took like it longer than 6 weeks. It was quite a bit of time, maybe 3 months. So then the doctor finally was like, okay, you can go, because part of the training is still a lot of physical activity. So I just needed to be healed enough to go. And that never happened because obviously I had the baby, and then my views had changed at that point because I didn't really feel the same way after having a child and being responsible for someone other than myself. So I really didn't want to go, but I was going to go because I had made that obligation and I had signed those papers, and I was going to, do what I said I was going to do. But they dragged their feet and dragged their feet until my baby was probably about 6, 7, 8 months. And then they wanted to try to send me. And I'm just like, I don't want to leave her now. And if you go into any active duty situation, being in the military, and I don't know if it's the same now, I would have had to sign over my parental rights to a guardian. And I think that would have been my mom. And I just didn't want to do that. I didn't want to leave my baby because I would have missed all her milestones at that point. So I kind of just held out. But I'll get back to that because it's another part of that story that I want to tell later. But like I said, me and my dad, we reconnected during that time that I was in basic training, and we talked all the time through letters. And the plan was that once I got home and got settled, that I would come visit him. And I was looking forward to it because, like I said, we had reconnected and we just was in a very good place, and I was so thankful for that. But unfortunately, after returning home, and if I can remember correctly, my father passed away 2 weeks after I returned home. And it might not have been 2 weeks. It probably was shorter than that, but I think it was about 2 weeks. And of course, that was just so heartbreaking for me because, I mean, obviously, that was my parent. That was someone I loved. No one ever wants to lose a loved one, especially not a parent. But one thing that made it easier for me was that we had reconnected, and that, we had talked about things and got things off our chest, and he uh, knew I loved him and I knew he loved me. And I just thank God so much for that, because just imagine if I would have went away and we never would have connected that way or reconnected, how much hurt and pain and regret I probably would have had on me or in my heart, because we never talked. It would have been a void. He just would have been gone, and then, we can't talk anymore. So part of what I'm speaking on today is forgiveness for the people we love. It's because you never know when their time will be up, when your time will be up. And I have witnessed people, personal and not, that have had great losses, and maybe unfortunately they was not in contact or speaking to, or they had issues with these loved ones, and it really tore them up when those people were not here anymore. And that's the type of pain I don't wish on no one. I don't want anyone to ever have to deal with, because there's nothing you can do with that. You just walk around with a broken heart and wishing that you just had one more time to talk to that person that you loved. And I'm just, like I said, so thankful that that wasn't my story. That was not my story. Um, so back to the military story. So once I had my daughter and then I was cleared to go, they didn't have any available dates to send me. So they just dragged their feet and dragged their feet, and it was months and months later. And at that point, I wasn't really wanting to go anymore. I didn't really feel the same. So what happened, and the reason everybody was calling me or texting me saying Happy Veterans Day to me, I'm actually not a vet because I didn't complete the training. I did do the basic training, but the tech training, I mean the job training, I did not complete. So what happened after some time, they didn't want to take responsibility for their part in me not completing it. And then obviously I was okay with not going because I didn't want to leave my baby at that point. So it wasn't an honorable discharge, and it was not a dishonorable discharge. It was something called an uncharacteristic. That's what's on the paperwork. So to me, that means it was a wash. Like it never, like I never was part of the military. So I'm not eligible for any of the benefits or any of the things that I probably would have if I would have completed my time that I had signed when I signed the contract for, the National Guard. But later on in life, I really was thinking about things, because sometimes, you think about the past and you kind of like, dang, if that would have went differently, this, that, and the other. But sometimes we shouldn't do that, because we need to look deeper at situations and why they happen. And then the time, of course, I didn't know why it probably happened. But to me, I really believe that the whole reason for me going to the military was supposed to be for me to make it a career or even complete it. The only reason that I went was for me and my dad to reconnect the way we did. Because I believe that if I had not went, I probably would never could talk to him on the level that we got to talk. I probably never would have went to visit, because at that time I was very angry and I had a lot of hurt on my heart. But being that I was in that situation at that time, it was divine intervention that I was able to talk with him, and we were able to reconnect and get on a, have a better relationship moving forward. And unfortunately, like I said, 2 weeks after me returning home from the military, completing my training, my dad passed away. But God is so good. He is so good. I miss my dad every single day, and I just wish he was here to see his grandbabies. Because, matter of fact, I had my daughter. She was almost born on his birthday. His birthday is October 13th, and my daughter was born October 10th. And she was holding on, because actually she was overdue by like 5 days. And everybody was like, oh, just hold on. You can have her on his birthday. And I was just like, no, it's time for her to come up out of here, because it was, whew, that was a long pregnancy and I was ready. But I think that's just amazing how that happens sometimes. God would do things and work miracles for you, and you don't even know it at the time. And so me having that aha moment, I kind of like look at my life now, and I go back and look over a lot of things that I've been through, a lot of my experiences, and I kind of look at them to try to figure out, like, okay, what was that for? Because everything we go through in life is for a reason. It's a lesson. He's preparing us for something great, and we have to go through these lessons and these steps in order to be successful in what he wants us to do in our walk in our purpose, pretty much. So, once again, so I'm gonna go back to, you know, the title, why forgiveness is important. Forgiveness is necessary for others, for you to forgive others, but also yourself. And I speak on that so much because so many of us are still walking around here just so hurt about things, that we can't control. And if we could have controlled it back then, oh well, that time is gone. It's over with. You have to learn to just leave the past in the past. There's nothing we can do about it. As long as you are trying to be a better person today, or you are doing and being a better person today, that's all that matters. We have to forgive. We can't, because what happens is when you hold on to hurt and resentment for someone, that's actually hurting you more than it's hurting them, because they may not even know, because maybe y'all not even talking. Y'all don't even have a relationship, and you going about your days being mad and upset about what they did, and they don't even know. They can care less. But you sitting here every day hurt. You just so hurt. It takes so much energy to not forgive and just be holding on to all of, you know, what you're holding on to. So please, just try it. Just try it. Give it a try. And if you just can't do it, once again, pray about it. Ask God to help you. Because he forgives us every single day. We are not perfect. We human. We make mistakes. We mess up daily. But guess what? He still loves us. And I have learned to love people past who they are and their faults. Do I have to be around them every day? No. Do I have to talk to them every single day? No. But what I'm trying to do is just stay connected or have conversations if something has bothered me. And that's something I wouldn't do in the past. I would hold on to things and I just would hold on to them. And it's not healthy. So when I speak about things on here, it's from experience. It's from experience. I'm talking about my life and the things I've been through. So hopefully it can help someone get through what they're going through now. And that's how we can help each other. Tell your story. It doesn't hurt. It really doesn't. It may help somebody. And that's a great thing. And then everyone has their own experience when it comes to loss. It's so many of us, obviously, that have lost people in our lives, people we love with all our heart. So grief is a hard thing, especially during this time of year. It's November. The holidays are coming up. And this is the time where you miss the people that's not here because you want to celebrate with them. You wish they were here to be with you. So some people go through depression during this time of year. It's not just this time of year that you're grieving, but it just makes it harder to, you know, cope with the fact that your loved ones have gone on. So only thing I can say, and I said this last week, is just try to think about all the beautiful memories, all the things that you have done together, the things they taught you in life. Just, you know, try to get through it. And if you can't on your own, seek professional help. Go to a grief counselor. Talk to your pastor. But most of all, go to God. Give it to him. Because he will definitely make a way and he will heal your heart. And I know sometimes people get tired of hearing that because they're angry because they're missing the person that's no longer with us. But believe me, it's very helpful. And if you have a close friend, someone that you can depend on to just have a conversation with. Because I know some of us, we don't want to burden our friends or our loved ones with our issues because we feel like, no, if they love you, they will be there for you. They will be a listening ear. They definitely will, you know, try to help you get through what it is you're going through. But at the end of the day, when we are hurt so deeply, it is for us to, you know, really do the work and figure out what's going on with us, why the hurt is so much. And a lot of times when people leave here, I know if it's tragic, that's a whole nother thing, but sometimes people are sick and they were suffering, but now they're not. So you just gotta, you know, really hold on to things that they left here. They be thankful for the time you have with them. But one thing, just don't have regret. Because that's something that will eat you alive. It really will. It really will. Don't try to do it on your own. I promise you. It's so much easier if you give it to him. I'm so thankful, like I said, to have had that time. I still go back. I got the letters that we wrote each other. So periodically I go dig them out and I'll read them. And it just touches my heart because it's just like, wow, you know, we really had that time to get it right. Because who knew? Couldn't nobody have told me my dad was going to be here. You know, 2 weeks after, you know, we started back really getting connected. That was just like a gut punch. Like, what? We finally was in a good place and now he's gone just like that. No warning. It's not like he was sick on his deathbed or anything. It was like really sudden. He was good one day, the next he was gone. So that's just, you know, a part of life. And I just want to be helpful and helping people to think about things a little differently, to not walk around sad all the time. And I know that's hard because grief will suck the life out of you if you allow it. It would change your whole life. Some people stop living altogether. They're still alive, but they're not living. They're just here because they lost someone, and they don't know what to do or how to go on any longer. But I'm telling you, it's possible. It's definitely possible. And every week that I get on here, I just hope that the message that I'm sharing, the stories that I'm telling, that it resonates with someone, and that they can say, you know, I like what she said. I'm going to try that. Because it's helpful. I wish that when I was going through some of the things I was going through at an early age, or, you know, obviously social media wasn't a thing, but I wish I had more support or outlet, or people that I could have went to talk to, or if I had a mentor. It just probably would have made things a little easier. But I believe everything happens how it's supposed to, because I've been through what I've been through, and the stories I can tell, then I'm helping the next person be able to have that person to look to, or to even start the conversation. And that's why I call this Conversations with Cree, because I would love to, when it gets to the point where I'm actually been able to interact and talk directly with, you know, people that comes on the live. And that's gonna come, I know it will. But I'm gonna continue to do God's work, because that's what God asked me to do. He put it on my heart to do this, and that's why I'm doing it. And every week, like I said, it gets easier. It gets easier to sit here and be in front of this camera and be vulnerable. That's not something that I wanted to do, but I had these experiences for a reason, and now I'm sharing this with everyone, whoever, you know, wants to be a part of it, whoever wants to join the conversation. So next week, I don't know exactly what the topic would be on 100%, but I think before the month is over, I may have a special guest join me on the live, and she would like to do the live this month about grief, because she has had great loss, and she can speak to what her experiences was and what she has done moving forward. So that will be exciting. I'm hoping that we can make that happen before the month is over. But if not, then she would join me probably the first week of December. And I'm not going to tell anyone who it is just yet. Some may know her, and some probably don't. But she's an amazing person that I have the opportunity to work with, preparing for going live and doing, you know, what I'm doing, building my platform. She has been very, very, very helpful, and I'm so thankful for her. So hopefully we can get more people to start joining the live, and we can have more conversation. But until then, thank you for joining, Lamelia. I love you, BFF. And everybody that's watching me or joining. I only see 2 people, but that's okay. That's okay, because I'm putting these on YouTube, so anyone who would like to can go back and watch. If you're not on the live, you can still go view later on, and that's why I'm doing it this way. But I'm gonna get off of here, and like I said, we're gonna do the same thing every Monday, 7 p.m. So everybody have a nice night, a good evening, and I hope to see you all next week. You don't want to miss this conversation. I'll see you all later. Bye.